You can't sit down. What should I do? If you're on campus, for example, and you have group works, you have, I mean, with experience in Nigerian campuses, you have to be in a group, and you have different kind of people there. The people don't want to work. People are there, they're paying for their groups, and you want to pass. Do you get what I'm saying? So that kind of system, there's a design to it. There's something that we call the healing for Marxist perspective. It's the fact that the education system has to manifest and written culture. So the manifest is come to school, you pass, get your A1 or 2 or whatever you get. The latent function is that we are giving you time management. That's the people after they think I'm finding that time. Because you touch that old schedule, wake up by time, it's just that somebody is supposed to wake up early. No, but not to help you learn that you do it. As an adult, you're going to try this. And that's why when you finish school and you're out there, people are going to come you like sit around. They will wait for that to go. You know what I'm saying? And that's just to show that is what that system is about. So exposing yourself to situations around you, elements around you, and asking yourself why. What is the lesson in this thing? To help you go a long way, helping you to learn and acquire some of these necessary traits that you even alongside that. And let me say that in conclusion. Whatever technical skill you have out there, if character is poor, very soon I'm going to throw you out. That's good that we got. I don't want to frank. So I mean I've tried sometimes to hire my business and eventually it falls to that it's a big problem. So I mean some of them don't have the skill. That's fine. But at least come with the right hand, teach you some of those things. So in your pursuit of technical skills, it's very important that you learn the things. You have the right attitude, which attention to it.
And I think that's what these are also because this is somebody that I know that is very, very interested in people culture, in knowing how society works, and like analyzing things, having a master's in security business. Why? The question is, across Africa, unhealthy cultural norms such as patronage, entitlement, weak accountability often undermine development. How do we begin the work of reshaping these norms? I know that norms, culture, yeah, and core sociology. How do we begin the work of reshaping this? How do we move away from things like patronage, entitlement? Okay.
Actually, I mean, I think my master's is here, but I'm working as a professor of sociology. I was listening to, I was like, that's true. Yeah, well, um, I have very interesting experiences, but I do not just like interact with Nigerians in the past 7 years. I interact with other people from other African countries. And I realized that we all have different perception, right? And one thing I would say is that when you see when you see a Nigerian, when you see a Nigerian, when you, that you can mix them up with Ghanaian sometimes because we have some similar traits. When you see those from Southern Africa, when you see those from Eastern Africa, you just realize that people think a bit differently than we all do. And it was very interesting to me, and I was like, really from this. And one thing that I would like to say regarding like the culture and everything is that we have this mind, um, especially like among Nigerians that will start from right when you feel that they should just everything should be or everything should just want to us or you are Nigerian or you are. I don't know, maybe it's pride, it's Nigerian pride, I don't know, or it's African pride, I don't know how to say it. But there's sometimes I'm like, "God, chill, calm down, learn, be humble. Like your father is not here. That kind of thing. Like, why are you telling me? Do you know my dad is? I will see it like you see it even when you are outside the country, for example, and you're like, why don't you just like change that thing? And what I would say is that culture for me is very strong and it's very we don't know how much it impacts us and we don't know how much the truth go through in like TFI actually like it's important for us. So we start from education, right? And the first thing that we should use to change, like the question that you asked. I was coming today and then we're supposed to get by 9. And I told my mom that I have to get by. She said, but the event starts at 9. I said, exactly why I should get by 8:45, 8:50. She said, are you the one that wants to now open the case? Every, like, Africans are all I don't know how to say. When I did and then I met my friend, she's Russian, she came to and then 2 3 hours later, we were walking, and she asked me that this is the same time that I got for the event. I said yes, and she's very surprised. There are little things that we're already very imbibed into society, imbibed into our mind, that makes us feel like, okay, this is normal. And those things are the ones that we have to like change. They are very small, they're very full of punctuality. I told my mom that if I'm going to speak about punctuality in this case, I don't know. I have to be early. I can't come here late. We didn't know where this space was, and we're taking the risk of coming late. Right? So it was very like very interesting for me. Things like just not things like someone comes visiting your house, please tell you tell them what I told. All those small things, right? They look very so I would say, but there are things that go a long way. It determines how we relate, like other people. It determines how we relate when we're outside. It determines a lot of things. Basically. So, education is very, very important. Changing the little laws, right? Like the way Movement was saying about civic responsibility, in the sense that you have a responsibility first of all to your life because I really believe that our life is very very important. So if you're going to train somebody else to do something, you have to like win it in your life first. So I'm asking myself, maybe after every class that we have, doing like the concept that okay, how is this thing like impacting my life personally? Am I sure that the words I'm speaking is the same thing that I'm living, right? So culture starts with you. I know we've heard it like so many times. But then what are the principles that you want to see like outside? What do you want to see with people? Right? The event is by 9 o'clock. People are working in 10, 11, 12. And I'm like, did we get the same level? Right? Ladies and gentlemen, let's just generalize first. let's, let's explore. And I think the whole point I would say is that I think when this matter is contributing, but I also have something that says that sometimes there are dreams that when the world is you cannot dream what you are going to be. Don't spend your time on TikTok, Instagram, and just watching Nigerian content or even American content. People that are going to comedy skits. Like expose your mind to quality things. Once you expose your mind to things that are quality, there is no way that it will change your life. The more you see, the more you know what you see, basically, right? So make sure that you behold the positive things out of the skits. Nigerian skits are just they don't make sense. They're not intellectual. They don't impact you. They don't I don't know. It's annoying. I can't preach my culture to somebody else from that country or something because it's obscene most of the time. How to recommend, right? So I would like to say that let us expose our mind. Let us meet people, like use LinkedIn, reach out to realize that things are different in our environment. And if we must grow, we must like see how people do it better. We're not copying them, like but we're seeing what works for them. We're seeing principles that work for them. And we're using this as means to change our lives. Thank you so much.
character and competence and long-term vision the other time. You cannot downplay. And I know that some years ago, that should be around 2019, there was a wave that was going around school this time. There was a wave that was going around 20, even up to 2021, it was just going around that school is a scam. And I think one of the things that drove that was also the popularity and fleeting success of internet fraudsters in Nigeria, especially because it's the young population. And people try saying that, like Mrs. Margaret said, when she finished her national service, she bought a car. Even people that have been working for 5 years here, if you don't know the money very well, you think that it's something that takes that you like to see someone that can buy a new car. I'm sorry, but even some of big companies in Nigeria cannot afford to buy a new car in this economy, right? So now you have a society that and then you see someone that did not just knows how to put English together, emotionally manipulate a white woman in the US and gets money before you know this person gets $5,000, and you that you're going to you're seeing your parents that they went through the same system, the result is not good, and you're seeing someone that's cheating the system in code, having that success, buying the Lexus, buying the cars and all that, and it was just that way of school is kind of, and for a time, I think it made a lot of people serious with their education, and it will make them help them maximize the experience, both the latest and the latest culture of the school at that point. But I'm glad that that way. I don't even know if I can say that again. The same sense itself, food is campaigning of, but reality, I don't think it's that. Because people to TikTok, lots of young ladies that what do you aspire to be fabulous, friends or wife or yeah. Yes, we still have that problem that we are dealing with. But I'm saying, like what you said, what you see is very important. When I dig into like this, because the more I think the particular your mother is supposed to be sponsoring your education at that age. Your mother, you should not be feeding your mother. You're just 16, you're 17. You have no business taking care of your mother. You should be sending you to school, but because the economy is cash, and everyone's just telling them like your parents are letting go their responsibility, and you know what parents their children. But one thing I must just say is that what we do at the front is very, very important. If anything, their respect has made us see that what we do here is no small work. Exposing ourselves to the quality of teaching that we get here is how imagine some of you are even shocked that but aspiring to be girlfriends of internet fraudsters because you can't imagine it because the people that you have surrounded yourself with this community are not like that. Like a large percentage like that. That's why you must also for the next cohort, the next basic leadership, next leadership cohort, you must track them here. Anybody that is thinking of you have to invite your friends to join for this education that you're benefiting because education is not just a whole school. PFI is an educational institution at this point with what we're doing. Right? So you want to make sure that you invite your friends, you bring in people so that they can get this transformation that you're getting. I've been at the front for 5 years. You have my minds are connected with, right? So please don't downplay the role of the community that you have here. See, like as they were reading their profiles, I was like, oh, I'm really fucking about them. I think that it's I'm already thinking about what should I tell my next so I just wanted to say that so we're really driving for this. We're not just asking these questions for asking sake, so that our lives can be better and we can do better in that. Thank you. So the next question will be for Emmanuel. And that's because when he was answering, he mentioned something that how can African countries build institutions that outlast political cycles and avoid strategies that hinder development? Let me put some. So what we mean by the strategy syndrome, many times you see it everywhere that there's a governor, the governor comes and let's say he starts building a school. If you go into rural communities, you see this in the finished, maybe a block of 6 classrooms, and then maybe the project is final year of the tenure, he's unable to complete it before he hands over, and then he hands over, say, to someone from another political party, or even his own political party. Once that person comes in, that thing they start building another political party just to take money out of the system. They don't count that one because they know that it will not count for them. They say it was the previous administration that did it, and then they start using their own credit. So we see this across different institutions in the public society, in our society, right? So, Manuel, how can we combat that?
Right, so we talk about that. Firstly, I think when we are looking at when I we experience, right? So I think there should be a lot of documentation. That's I want to do constitution as structural. Yeah, what that so yeah, like not that like a business system. I want that to start carried out. If like says that there is a proper documentation and being able to law made a requirement such that whoever takes over is required to continue that line and not just starting at where starting at. That approach is not sustainable. Second, I think that those that like the culture of stewardship, and that's what they like that culture of stewardship, being able to take on someone's initiative, not just that to be always your own. So I believe people that invite such one also be honored. So if we, if that is your common people that are to take up other people's initiative, you scale it. I believe that also go a long way, giving to that culture. Long term, a lot of people will catch up with it. Who are exactly being rewarded. It becomes a good practice, becomes an enjoyable practice, continue from where that from. And if this practice will go a long way.
Thank you so much for that.
Healthcare, I believe it should not be should not be how to do this, for example. Like it should be like an institution, like we have a people want to say that okay, we want to actually like do like 10 schools in this particular, and then if the president or the governor wants to actually build a school or an hospital or something, goes through that ministry. The ministry, so anything that happens is the glory of, not the glory of individuals, because human beings want things, they want them. So if they go through the institution, then it's easier for them to, first of all, a lot of it's just do their job, because that's the reason why like they exist, right? And institutions should not change after 4 years. It's just supposed to be there for long term and for solidification, right? So I think that key things, health, education, right, should go through institutions rather than individuals.
Thank you very much. Let me just give up to you. And for the next question, just allow you to focus to this topic, right? You talked about letting it be the glory of the ministry, the that is in charge of it, right? So that brings me to the topic of civil service. Many times I've heard people tell me that many times we say that because no politician can steal money without their money. I mean, it might not look believable to us, but I'm telling you that I want to know that there's a truth there. Even if they are not, there's a high chance that civil servants are enabling you go to a government office, you go to the government, start asking you to drop their fingers, pay a bribe so that you can get faster documentation. We see this everywhere. So civil service has it. And for the longest time, they are being the silent player that don't know out there. But the real, they are the ones that are the real at the hem of affairs. They are the ones that are really getting trouble. End of the day, it's a good thing that I'm going to shout. Right. So I want to ask Usman a question in that line, talking about civil service, public institutions. Many public institutions struggle with inefficiency and corruption. What reforms can realistically retool these institutions for effectiveness? Because here we're not just dealing with also dealing with I think you have an idea of how bad it is. So what can we realistically do? What can come up with actually shape?
Thank you very much. Well, there are a lot of ways. But let me come the answer. What is the question? Inefficiency of it. Talking about the incentive and the dominance. Right. The balance. Now, all right, so another thing. Now, so you have to incentivize efficiency. And at the same time, you also have to make sure that it has to be a balance. If you are trying to promote something, you also have to make sure that you're working towards. Because now, when you reduce satisfaction, they don't mean you're improving satisfaction. You understand? So, when it comes to inefficiency and corruption, it has to be from both sides. Now, in this country, we don't have enough punishment for inefficiency and corruption. Now, I can tell you that, let us institute a checkpoint, government system, and everything. We've done everything like not working. Right? And institutions only work as far as the people want it to. Right? But an institution, like I said, is not the structure, it's a pattern of behavior. So if corruption is our pattern of behavior, and you're telling me to give you to means there are two options. Either I kill everybody. Question an option. I mean, most what is give everybody. What I'm saying that the way Nigeria is like, remove everybody from Nigeria, there's no corruption. So it's a good thing. It's not about the example, the structure, like you said. Civil servants because now, I mean, how do I remove 200 people out of? I don't know. I'll need somebody to tell me that put it here, remove it from here, like sign that. You know what I'm saying? So I read that at the best part. Now, what we need is to, and can't deal with this issue in isolation. Right? It doesn't. I want to become president of Nigeria. What should I get? I want to get that kind of money. 7,000 naira. And I tell you that I have rights. And then the system is not promoting or allowing me to actually have a chance. I mean, countries around the world spend money. But they pretend to give you a chance. Now, okay, for example, I go to give for example, I spend my first price, I might have a chance. But in Nigeria, I cannot spend my first chance. That's just the truth. Because no matter people have to pay the patient to an but that I don't find. Alright, so I think it's the people thing. Corruption is not it's already a culture in this part of the world. Because it's everywhere. I mean recently people that have football people now you see the thing with NFL and they're just starting money people just come out to details. And people are asking, is there any part of this country or this continent where corruption is not the name of the game? So corruption is already the way of life now. What it is. So a solution is it boils down to a solution, right? And changing what we see as normal.
So if I can pick your question one view, talk about making effectiveness and making it effective. How can we do that realistically? Are there tools that we actually punish and they are great that but ineffectiveness be like this practice? So that because you mentioned that that's really one way we can get things done better.
Okay, so now what I'm about to say now, as a mom, might be a bit. We have to bring back the shift. That's the function in the actual science. But what happens is that over time, in a bid to battle extreme form of shame, we reverted to another extreme form of lack of shame. So now, I mean, the thief is the thief. When you start using words like free, theft, fraud, corruption, you are making it, you're giving it the same way you call terrorism and gunmen. Just call it what it is. So, if someone is out there, I'm telling you, whether it's a thief, it's going to make more sense compared to corrupt. Yeah, now, corruption is like, I'm not. When I say whether it's a thief, that's why I say bringing back shame. Like, you have shame. Shamelessness is that's why you can steal money with confidence and you know now, okay, and because this shame to both sides, person taking the money, me, like, I mean, your father is stealing money down with TikTok. People are following you, saying, yes, I'm about forgiving you. No, that if you are all together, I'm not following you. You are there, and every day you come online. I know that your father is a thief.
After the family will be taken back. The family will be taken back.
Let's move to something very restricted.
Yeah. Human nature to want you have to start. So can you borrow policies and customize them to our people? That's the problem we have. What we need is a check on the value system that allows you to get a job and you're comfortable at that job. Given by 10 or 11, and then you pay by 1. In a civil service or ministry. And you know they are telling you, they are going to attend to 20 minutes a day. And they just don't down work and you are doing work by 11. In this age of smartphone, everything. How do you say now? You check it here. One of the issues we are having is that we don't understand how trends reframes perception. You understand? When something trends and you jump on it, you don't understand that it's shifting because it becomes, and that's one of the power of media. but you are exposed to it over time. You don't see, and when you don't see the big thing, it's not a problem. You want to do it. You're waiting for your turn. So the value system also tell you that most of them are waiting for their turn. To protect now, but when I mean, I can't mention this. Yeah, yeah, that we're outside the government and we're protecting. Oh, by the time you have resigned, by that time you have, and they are there now. They are saying, oh, it's not a ground for them. It's NMQ of people. They will probably be thought of bad out. You know what I'm saying? So the value system has to change. Because the value system is the foundation of the norm. What we value becomes normal. What becomes normal becomes acceptable. What becomes acceptable becomes institutionalized. When you go to an institution over time, it becomes so that thing the vicious cycle. Right? So I can mention policies and everything and so value system has to be attacked. And the best way to do that is through education system. I don't know why a country like Nigeria that has this kind of issues, for example, does not have in its curriculum leadership education or something about corruption.
Okay, let me just ask you the next question. Then it's related to the point you made. It says, culture is transmitted through stories, media, families, and religious institutions. What role should each of these sectors play in shifting Africa's mindset towards excellence and responsibility? Talk about stories, media, families, and religious institutions. Just answer that question.
Let me talk about family. I like that. The family is like one of God's favorite institutions. That's the marriage. And the family is like the first agent of it. So that's why I always take time to encourage them to marry. Marrying well is not just the benefit, it's our benefit too. Because if you marry anyhow, I mean, these children anyhow, and then you feel the level of anyhow light, and then you become a leader to people have to understand how their actions and decisions are affected outside of themselves. It's not just about you. It's not about you just marry and do wedding. They're going to affect us. We have, I mean, this country that we have millions of people. They are interested to us. It's taking like this time gone. It's because of people that demand. Don't you know that you have you understand? So, family, the role of family in place of shaping culture has to do with value system. Family set to go. I mean, the early age when the child form the foundation of the world and what is right and what is time to be the schools, the churches and all that. So I think the family has that will play when it comes to shaping value. Stories, I imagine what you expose yourself to. Even the movies. You have movies now that the movies you have now they are high class movies. So you can't imagine yourself not living in Lex, for example. Because all the movies are being legalized. So find houses with street lights and everything, find cars. So you don't understand that there's poverty in the land. So and you with your 100K job. I mean it's a good thing. Dignity of labor is a thing. If you are doing 100K work, do it with pride. Do it with pride. Because when you see people up there, you don't understand where they are coming from. Focus on your own journey. Do your thing. You don't have somebody come and pressure you and then start pressuring you. Honestly. Right? So I think the stories you expose, the movies you are watching, they are changing your life. They are changing how you perceive things. So if for example, that now that you don't rent out, you don't have people that's much more light. It's not a good house. And the whole point of getting that house, that's where they can record themselves in their house. I mean, if you're watching a movie, for example, you record it. Because by yourself, you can't be comfortable unless you project it that that is fine. The good light, making light in the house. So if you have the regular ceiling, those are small problems that you have individually and mindset. Right? So those stories, how they shape it. I mean, you have Nigeria that one is very soon, very good. Before you make that, people will make that word a nice thing. The way you make Yahoo a nice thing. I mean, before you should not be proud to be your crime. But I'm like, people are not knowing that this is fraud and it's a crime. But they're posting that advertising that. things that we know that they got through from. Right? So, and then you have friends like that. Have you ever told them, oh, this is wrong?
I think you should just start calling internet fraudsters thieves.
My friend is a thief. People in that name. People are
Yeah.
and sometimes one of the reasons why don't be connected to these people and things to do because it also is really control. Try to isolate yourself from what you know and can be a big problem. Try to isolate yourself because eventually, and you know, that was one of the reasons why Nigerian attitude is to that. They don't do that. And sometimes I feel like if everybody in Nigeria is doing that, you'll be more pained when they want to teach you to pay their account. Because you know that money is there. But you know that money is not there. So you feel like, yeah, it's a money. How money? I'm used by Solar. I have to wear. I have the night to fight. You know what I'm saying? So that's not the issue. So I hope
Those that was very, very important. Says that when I was studying, one thing I want us to do, and I want us to just make it for ourselves. When you see all this is online, yeah, we are people that do this that we do as our own policy that leaders as well judge. Take a moment to what accounts. Tell them not to recommend this to you. Like once you see, two of you like, I don't know why you just like things anyhow. Like it's like it's share your stuff to me. I don't want to see it, right? And if you don't believe in it, right, don't like it. Once you like it, they're very things to actually show it to people that are following you or something like that. If you don't like it, don't share it. The one that is like that to other people, right? Maybe to your straight to personal contact like that. Take your time to report this account. Take your time to block them. That is like you as a friend. And I don't know why Nigeria doesn't have, I don't know if I'm not saying it, maybe somebody here knows somebody, doesn't have a policy of restricting of viewership of particular things for their people. Right? I don't know how to like say it in a more proper way. In Russia, you can't see so they block us from Western world. I'm happy because I don't like Western media, right? But they make us see what they want us to see. Things like this should also be like we don't hear. In the sense that I don't know if it's a minister of media or something like that, should say that okay, this kind of content is not good for Nigerian content, right? It is bringing a different mindset. It's bringing a bad mindset in the hearts of people. We must stop people. So accounts that actually like do all this posting about we are posting all these parties should be blocked, should be removed, should be deleted. If we even report them to, for example, Instagram, for example, yes, guys, they know that okay, this thing is wrong. They won't recommend it to us, right? So if we can't cry to the Minister of Media and Information, right? I'm trying to we as individuals report accounts, block accounts. What else can we do again? Everything negative to the accounts, do it. Once we do it, it allows Instagram, it allows Meta, it allows them to know that this thing is bad. It limits the reach of that particular kind of content to other people. You are saving your brother and you too. Like, don't post it too. Because sometimes I don't want who is idolizing this.
Thank you, Elise. Just my next question is for you. How do we reconcile traditional African values, demands of a modern society? Basically we are in the revolution already, but past the industrial revolution is gone. Now we are in the artificial intelligence revolution. This is the each revolution, yes, the new age, the age of artificial intelligence, age of innovation, right? It has gone from technology to innovation. Innovation is to artificial intelligence. artificial intelligence, technology, internet, era of chatbots, and AI tools. So, how can we reconcile traditional African values with the demands of a modern innovation-driven society? When Mrs. Margaret was giving a speech, she talked about us not just copying the Western society, but the truth is that has been our they've been our models for a very long time. In fact, the Nigerian educational system is structured after the British system. And when you have a school that says, oh, we run the British curriculum, that's where all the big children to, because that is the standard, that is what is quality, that's what you pay millions for. So how do we, since she said that we should not copy, right? But the truth is we also need to we also need to as a society. How do these are African values, how do we reverse the need for innovation?
Okay, so I would say that first of all is to know what our values are. But if you actually ask like everybody, what are these traditional African values? Most of us we don't know, because I grew up watching iCarly, I forgot the Victorian, like I was a very, kind of body child growing up. So I watched all of it when I was growing up. So what do I know is my own African family? What do I know is the thing that my mom or my dad or my grandparents, what do I know these things are? That's the first thing, to know what they are. And the second thing is to love them. To love them and not to consider them as like embarrassing or inferior or as special or strange, in the sense that let's have our clothing. Like we are coming and then we have our Nigerian clothes. But if someone, if we are coming to the bed, I don't know, maybe it's just my mindset. I'm so sorry. But everybody get that one traditional. I saw them like they're more like clothes. Like, oh, this person is really traditional. Maybe it's just my own mind. But it was very, and I liked it. I didn't like having any problem with it. It was just, I was like, I actually like this. So it's loving what belongs to us, being able to wear our clothes, be able to be proud of our things. Like I'm talking about like artifacts and our food, things like that. Being able to talk about it in ways that are very glamorous, right? That everybody knows that, oh, this person or this thing that belongs to this person is amazing. When you interact with Asians, they are so proud. So reason. They are so confident and they are very traditional people, right? And because they're more Easterners, like in their culture, right? They are so proud of who they are. They are so proud of like what they are as a people. They are food. Like Chinese people don't care. They cook at the entire floor smells like their food. But when I'm cooking, I want to like close my room because I don't want like the smell of palm oil and fish to go out. And people like say, what is the smell? What are you cooking? That kind of judgmental face, right? That comes with African food smell. Our food smells badly. Not badly. Sorry, see. Our food smells a lot. Saying that, like, but then being proud of me to say, okay, yes, this is what I have, this is what I do. I think we can use innovation. We can use this modern thing, like to amplify and beautify our values. We can use them to magnify. Let the world know that we have something beautiful. I really hate it so much when you go online, when you're seeing an African guy, is one hunger-stricken person that is white. They don't do hunger person internet. It's a black person they're going to see that comes out. Every image, imagine someone asking me that, okay, so do you guys have like roads or like don't ask me what I'm asking, like, do you have like, do you live like in forest? So when you're moving, and this is not forest, this is not like bush area, right? She's like, no, I mean a lot of, I get very interesting and funny questions to me. I don't blame them, they're quite ignorant. And why are they ignorant? Because in our movies, talking about the high class, they're talking about how depraved the society is, and to be honest, they're showing what exists. And sometimes they will fantasize for the sake of content, for the sake of publicity and everything like that. So our students to become, let's know what we have, right? Let's know our values, and let's try to beautify it using innovation. Let's say that okay, I'm going to use AI to show how beautiful my life I mean narrative, I don't mean like changing, like for example, our clothes. And I'm trying to think about example, but these are actually like was maybe wrong like gender norms. These are linked towards the environment, all these things that are not good. Let's try and change them, right? Not copy them, but change them to be better using like innovation. So we're not copying the West, we're amplifying the African beauty, and then we are also improving ourselves using innovation.
Thank you so much. To summarize what you just said, is that we find our values to tell values out there, what matters to us Africans, let's use it out there. If we don't put it out there, how will these ignorant Westerners actually know that we do need to like them? And they like to I like to give us a question. Anybody have a question? I'll just take one question. Just you, because of time. But before you ask your question, I'd like to ask my question. I present this question for you. Okay, so it says many young Africans are unemployed, yet considered unemployed. What specific mindset and skill gaps must we address to prepare the next generation for the continent's future economy? Before you answer, I like to give some context. Many times in recent times, I had to hire for some roles recently, and I saw a lot of people that are complaining that there are no jobs, but this was a job and it was so difficult. The first set of interviews that I did, I interviewed like I couldn't find a person. And these are people that on their resume, they have the qualification, they have the degree, they have, they were just not impressed. So, for instance, many years back, my mentor used to tell me something that he doesn't feel that he's unemployed. My mentor would always say, he has never been unemployed for a day in life, so he doesn't believe that there is unemployment. And sometimes it looks like maybe he's not living in the world that we're living in. But going through something like a hiring process that made me realize that there are actually jobs. But the problem is that many are not employable. And sometimes it's not just a question of skill, it's also a question of attitude, like what I was saying, that if the problem is that you don't have the skill, there are employers that are willing to do that, but sometimes people don't just have the right attitude. So I want us to approach this question, and I'm speaking to learning and development professional. I want us to approach it from two sides. How do we bridge the skill gap? And also teachers. How do you actually teach people to have the right work ethics so that people can become employed and fill these roles that we have? Thank you so much.
So I'm happy you asked. And it's come at a time when we as students in Africa, then after our work, and we all talk about the youth. Started by let's see the deal of Master University.
So go here.
That for a long time, the universities have stood alone. Industry alone. Students in the middle. So why don't we have a beautiful where industry will be in education? What do we really want? Can we start preparing students for the universities and technical institutes so that by the time I'm ready, I'm employable and I have say we have done you a great job. I must apologize. But when I was a student in the university, in vacation, I used to work. So I used to have a lot of money, like, because my parents never said because like what if you want to work. I used to work at Barclays. Oh yes, every vacation. So we went through things. We went through even the little things. Can you imagine a younger me around 19, 20, going to the workplace about 18 first time? I quite remember that because you know, the little things we went, you know, see myself, see my somewhere here. But then going to the office and being told a lot of things. And being into teaching the lessons that made us so very good. Didn't behave like someone who didn't know anything. After national service, my employer had no take at all because we had been working, but it has now punished. So if we stand for this one, then the job is cheap and is able to say the students are not ready. As a matter of fact, in my organization, I always have interns. So this is to all of you here. Let's not behave like all the others. I dare not be at least every year. At least two every year. From first year. They don't know anything. They haven't worked. They will make mistakes, yes, but you don't give them. So you mentor them. By the time they are in their third year, not to think about people can't believe they are even moving and working. So by the time they finish, they're doing their national service in my. They don't think. The national service, they don't no, I sometimes that gives me and to all of us. It's gives us the opportunity. I have an organization, but I travel around. For the month since November, I've been on the road. But there's business going on in my organization. And it works. It's easy for us to say when you're not there, nothing happens. No, when you're not there, something that happens. Structures, you know, young ladies and young men in my organization in the university. Access to and don't think that sometimes I train after school, someone pushes me. Why? You are developing for Africa. Don't be scared. Develop some more. That's my business. And that's the mentality I walk around this morning. So energy, and sometimes why is the that look for we are looking for organized employers as private employers. Working with those stuff. Do you want us to teach them? Then we finally say, ethical leadership, delegation, leading the group, how to lead yourself first. So some of us, how about what? Now you have entrepreneurs. You also have an institute. Which university? You started from the university. Our skills. I don't call them systems. These days, nobody calls them systems. Initially, people just anticipated you're talking about the past. Others call them the human relations skills. Let's build them. That's what you're doing. So by the time you are technically there, you have your human relations. Nobody can say the answer but catch the young. Let's empower our citizens. As in my generation, don't kill us, go die. Kill us. Then stop.
Yes, thank you. So because it's of time, we'll be able to take the question. But who is the question for? I think you might just have to like meeting person. Okay, so please, a round of applause for our panelists.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, another round of applause for performance. Mrs. Margaret Jackson. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be going on a short break where you can also carry on. And now we'll be moving from 7 to 8 minutes after that. So the break starts now. Feel free to network.
Thank you. Is the same pictures after? I have an envelope with me. I'm on a. I've been looking for name Gibis, or I'm sorry, my intellectual abilities will me. Or I'm on a mission from the Federal Republic of Kifaru. Yes, so please let's move forward. Everybody should come forward, please. Everybody, let's come together because we're about to do something. So I'm on a mission, and today we are all going to solve this republic. They have a big problem that the leaders in this room will solve. It's a fictional country, but the problems that this country is facing is similar to the problems that many African countries are also facing. And today, every leader in this room is going to participate. I'm sorry, I have the habit of mentioning names, including Blessing, Camilla, Toby, and everybody at the back. This activity is for you, so let's pay attention. I'm sorry the text stop is a bit tiny. So today,
You are the leaders that have been tasked with saving the Republic of Kifaro, a fictional country facing imminent institutional, cultural, and human capacity collapse. So what is the mission? If you don't save this country is going to collapse. And there will be a big problem in the continent of Africa. I'm sure you don't want that to happen. So number one, you have to solve problems and decode leadership failure, then design a path to secure Kifaru's future. So you're going to face three critical domains. You have three main missions. The first mission is building people. The second domain is retooling institutions. And the third is shaping cultures. So this is a competition. There will be three things. And you're going to be timed. So there will be three things, and the things will be timed. The things will be timed. So the first thing to complete the mission is the winner. The last thing is what? I'll leave it later. And the thing that doesn't even meet up with the time is the word.
Winner.
Okay. So at the end of the competition, each team will present a representative to deliver a 2-minute emergency briefing to the president. Yeah. And this is the president. Let's put our work together for the president. President Olabisi. I'm going to, yes. I hope it's so you see, this is the what now? The file. It's sealed. I don't know what's there. Highly confidential. Only accessible to leaders like you. I'm going to put each of us in groups now. And you start to see A is the face, B is the A, B is the A, B, B, A, B, A, B, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, Chama, A, C, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, A, B, A,
Hey, C-sharp.
You are done grouping yourself. Please pay attention. Once you are done grouping yourself, you need to come to the president. Set your mission word. Say that. Go to the president. Set your first mission. Work on the first mission. Once you are done, you return your delivery to the president. You get the second mission. Once you are done, you return to the president and get the third mission. You started by one. These are assignments. Wait, I want really
Oh, okay. That's mo pala na like how many
The traditional attire. Wearing English dresses. You can wear probably but please look beautiful, look nice, promoting your culture, dress, come dress in your traditional attire. So let's come together and each team pick the person that represents them for their 2 minutes emergency briefing. Group A, please let's come together. So one representative from each group should come forward to deliver a 2 minute emergency briefing to the president on how the Republic of Kifara was saved after serving the three critical domains: building people, retooling institutions, and shaping cultures. Group A, you have the floor. The representative of Group A. Okay, so now we're moving to Group B. So they need
subjects where members of million states are right. So together we can build this nation, irrespective of nation, approach as well as it as self-service. I want us to come together today to work together and make this country better, make this nation better. Right? Just in terms of puzzles now and be able to see how we can come together through service, through adaptability, through through collaboration and together. Together we can do it.
Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of you, we are providing solutions to President. So, first of all, the first one that we actually did was trying to find our values, which are integrity. We are focusing on integrity, we are focusing on communication, to communicate very well with stakeholders to make sure that we are having different strategy in place. So now, moving on, we are going to be talking about the five major programs that we are going to. So the five major programs that we are going to do is first education and leadership development program. Like this program now, the fourth institute, we are trying to bring forth program for people to learn young adults. Then another one, we are going to do national civil service capacity building. We are going to make sure that civil servants are well, they are accountable, they are not corrupted. So another thing is To restructure the economy and the institutions of Kigali and to also prioritize human capacity development. We are going to be focusing on values such as accountability because if you send something out and you don't track it, then you cannot trace it. So it gets very important that we recognize the times that we are in. So adaptability is a very important value to us because we have to adapt. We have to make compromises based on the compromises and sacrifices based on the situations that we have found ourselves in with a vision in mind. Then we are going to be collaborating a lot across board, different ministries. Nobody's going to be standing alone. Education is collaborating with the economy. We are collaborating across board. And also, the rule of law is going to be prioritized because where there is no law, there is no sin. So we want to make sure that there are consequences for actions, and we want a society where corruption and crime or thrive. So at the time of affairs, we're going to be having people that are very, very experienced and are well trained. The list of them has about 10 years of experience, 5 years of experience. So they are working with if there's an emergency situation in Nigeria, we have leaders that can rise. So it looks like a game, like an entertainment activity, but beyond that, I want us to see that these are actually real critical issues that are like facing countries, and you don't know where you're going to find yourself tomorrow. In this room, there are senators, there are presidents, there are governors, there are local government chairmen. So if you don't understand, so you need to understand simple basic things like this. And let me just bring just two of them home. All the groups have done well and you've spoken to it, but just mention two major ones. You see this one that says six five major programs Republic of Kipari needs to focus on right now. Just recently we had this kidnapping and banditry issue, and we saw the social media page of the president posting currently on the trip to, and everybody was like, if this problem that are facing, what you think you need to focus on now is that you are going on a trip somewhere, or maybe there's a problem and the wife of the president is buying a new jet. That's misplaced priority, and that's one of the things we have to do here. Then we have like five major programs government to focus on, and we can also be smart degree was where there are many. Like I was it during Buhari's time that Buhari and Fashola were both minister for petroleum or something. And the main reason was because petroleum was the major asset of this nation and wanted to ensure that safe hands, capable hands were in charge of that resource. And there are, I don't speak too much to that, but I'm sure you get my point. There are other capable people, competent people that can hold that position. So because somebody's son or somebody's daughter, I mean, because son of a senator, sorry, because somebody's parents were senators or were former presidents, that does not guarantee, that should not guarantee that this person was definitely wrote the appointment. And with that, I'd like to invite Shama.
All right, before we go to the next item, which is to bring up a few of members on this speak on how their experience has been. We would like to do something August. We have a member of us who's pretty forced today. We would like to speak about so I watched the very so like stay it. Let's just go. 1, 2, go. Sorry. So let's begin. It's the person that has been here. Yes, you make it. Okay. All right, so let's make a blessing. Wait. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are currently reaching to the close of today's event. Before we do that, we'd like to hear from one or two participants about experience. So we would like to volunteer to speak.
Maximize potential.
Anybody? But I got it. Secondly. Yes. It got it. That's all. That's all. That's all. So yes, thank you. So it's come for you. When you come for it, tell us your name and then tell us how you express it. 1 minute.
Good afternoon, everybody. So, my name is Tamara. I would like to share my experience. Experience about CSI. So now, starting the program, I graduated from class 5. Because there was time on a TV market, so going back to the practical aspect of which is so which was very, very interesting, trying to communicate with stakeholders, trying to impact, and I feel the joy of students trying to come there. Thank you, Auntie, for coming to us. Then for this leadership coming down, we all came together. So I learned the most from us as family. Thank you so much. And I would like to appreciate now by participation.
I've actually put a post paper. Few leaders here actually basically actually comes is actually comes TF obviously again this is my this session next session. Now we have the last one.
So my experience at I had used it. I was a graduate student. So having different meetings on leadership. Before I am being I didn't really have a broad understanding of what leadership is. Even though I mean I was leadership position, but getting a new insight, new perspective on what leadership is. I mean, I'm very, very grateful that Kingsley every and I don't know. I'm just very glad or excited to be a member of the information at TFI.
Thank you so much, each of the workers. Can we see it? Can we see it on the screen? Right, so most we are using to close today's event. So I'd like to ask our rise on our feet as we take the fourth creed. We're going to take the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Run them head on.
Thanks so much for being here. See you tomorrow. I'm going to take